Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Devi and you are watching Just Devi Marie. So today I'm gonna be doing a little hairstyle with me. I'm gonna be doing my wash and go today, but I'm just gonna be chit-chatting with you about marriage, nothing very structured. So if you want to chat with me, maybe you want to do your hair while I'm doing my hair also, please go ahead and stay tuned. Alright you guys, so before we get into the video, I want to remind you guys to subscribe. Also, please remember to like this video if you've enjoyed it. Also, I want you guys to leave in the comments like a bride, a groom, something related to marriage, wedding, church, something. Leave that in the comments to let me know that you are rocking with me. Also, I want to remind you guys to check out the previous video on my channel and my channel playlist. I do also have another channel called Yardments with my husband that I'd love for you guys to check out. All those links will be in the description, so go ahead and check them out. So whenever I do any polls or question and answer stuff like that on Instagram, a lot of people always tell me they like to hear stories about marriage and whatever, because yes, I am married if you don't know. I've been married for a little while now, still very new in the game, but I always get questions about like marriage or like singleness or relationships and stuff like that. So I thought it would be a good idea while I'm doing my wash and go today to kind of just talk about why I got married and just kind of share some little details on like my journey into marriage. So I'm gonna try to talk to you guys. Hopefully it's not too rambly because y'all know I can chat, and hopefully it's just not all over the place. Hopefully you guys definitely get something out of it. And of course, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you guys can leave them in the comments, or we can just chat in the comments if you'd like. I'll basically be using the same products that I used in my best wash and go ever video, and if you haven't watched that yet, I will leave that in the cards, and I will also put it in the description box so you guys can check out like a really detailed tutorial of how I get like my best like foolproof wash and go. So I just wanted to talk and share with you guys my personal experience to marriage. I know that a lot of people don't necessarily or won't necessarily share from the experience or the point of view that I'm coming from. I am a Christian, if you guys don't know that. I believe in Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the Holy Spirit, and God the Father, right? I believe in the Trinity. And so maybe a lot of what I say you guys may not agree with or whatever, but this is just my experience, and I just thought that I would share, just because you never really know how sharing will actually help somebody. You never know how your story can help somebody who's probably going through a similar or the same situation that you have gone through. So I just want to say that I was never the kind of girl who was very big into like weddings. You dream about your wedding from your little, and you plan your wedding in your head, and you have your things then put aside. You have a little box with your little things then where you want to do at your wedding. Like, that was never me. And I think a big part of the reason why that was really never me was because I was so physically insecure. Like, I've always been like very chubby and big from I was small, and I always had this image in my head of what guys would like and whatever, and I just felt like I just did not fit the mold. And of course I do have a video talking about my insecurities. You guys can check that out. I'll leave it in the description if you're interested. So I always felt that way. So I was never the kind of person who was like, yeah man, I've been planning my wedding from I'm 6 years old, and you know what I mean, I have my dress planned out and picked out in my head. That was never me. That was never me, to be honest. And that's just the fact of life. My parents have been married, and I know that they've been married for a long time now. I think they've been married for over 30 years. Mommy, correct me if I'm wrong, because I know my mother watches my videos. But they have been married for a while now. And so, they were a good example of marriage for me. Yes, marriage had its ups and downs and stuff like that, but I feel like they were a good example of, yes, we have issues, yes, we have problems, but we work through them, and with God at the center of our marriage, we can get through it. I was really never the type of girl too who was like, yeah man, boyfriend, I like this guy, oh my god, this guy, this is my crush or whatever. Like, I just did not, that was just not my reality, That's not what I was focused on. Yes, growing up in the church coupled with my insecurities, also coupled with I was just not the type of person to just be run up in a people. That's just not how I stay. It does take me a while to get used to you and open up to you. You know, I'm not the most, what you'd say, I'm not really very vulnerable with any and everybody. Like, that's just not something that I do. You know what I mean? Of course we did like boys here, but my standard also was always very high. Like, you know, I always see things when I say, alright, that's enough for me. Even if I did start like, yeah, I realize I really and me, I say, I don't like you no more. You have to go back. I mentioned in a video before, I don't remember which one, that my husband was actually my only boyfriend. You know, he was my only boyfriend, and I'm very happy about that too. And I think that's just because I just have up so much walls that I'm very picky, so I'm not really letting people like that. So I'm glad he was my only boyfriend. And I mean, also the whole boyfriend thing, I mean, as I say, I was very insecure. I did have like good guy friends. Like, me and guys used to get along good. When I say get along good, I mean like in a no kind of romantic kind of way. I mean, like, you know, I was just always like, you know, when I started to get over my insecurities, maybe like late high school, like, you know, me and guys could have roll. You know, we could have chat about anything. We could have all talk about girl and how girl has stressed them or whatever. Like, I was just that friend that, you know, you could have come and talk to me and we sit down and we chill and we laugh, and it wasn't you having to be maybe something that you're not to try and impress me because, you know, you wanted to be with me in that kind of romantic kind of way. It wasn't like that. We're just always like very chill. And, you know, as I mentioned, we never really like a lot of people. Like, it would take you a lot to really get up to my standards in terms of what I wanted in a guy. And maybe that's just because of how I see my father stay. You know, my father is an extremely good man, and he has been extremely good to our family. You know, my mother also is a very good woman, you know, a woman of God and stuff like that. So yeah, I got here maybe got my parents from this a lot because I have to beat them up, because at them why I come home, and why I stay partially. You know, I'm a different breed of girl already, you don't know that. My guy friends were like good friends, you know what I mean? Good friends, and not no like, oh no, that's a friends with benefits. It wasn't nothing like that. Like, we're just really good friends. Like, we would have good honest conversations with each other. Like, I was the girlfriend that was like, no, don't be doing that, don't be doing that. Like, you know, kind of giving them like some insight from a girl's perspective, and honestly giving them insight, not just giving them insight because I'm interested in them or nothing like that. And I mean, I always felt, because of my physical insecurities, you know, how I looked, you know, which guy ever really like me in that kind of romantic way, you know, genuinely really like me, you know what I mean? Because me I say, I don't really have the typical look where we see them go far, you know them way there. But I mean, you get over that as you get older, because when you get older, you start at university, as you say, people are bigger than you, people smaller than you, and people have man, and you know, you just see a variety, a bigger variety of people when you start getting out there in the world and seeing different things. And so it's almost like what you are usually insecure about, you're like, but this is kind of normal. Like, I mean, there are other people who look like this, there are other people who, you know, go through what you go through, you know what I mean? But I always wanted somebody who would genuinely like me for me, you know, flaws and all. So then, how does a girl like me, who don't have no man, don't really like a lot of guys, of course interested in guys, but don't really like a lot of them, to see yourself with in any kind of like romantic relationship, how do I go from being married now? You know, I remember when I met my husband, I used to hear about him from friends that I used to have. I used to hear about him and stuff, and I remember when I finally met him, I was like, then I saw them go on, then I eat them go on so over. Then I eat them really go on so over. Like, you know, it was not any kind of like love at first sight or anything like that. And I was just like, okay, alright, so I can't talk about him if you want, if you don't think him cute or you don't think him nice or whatever, blah blah. I was just like, okay. And I remember me and one of my guy friends that I would have met, he went to the same church as my husband. And you know, we're cool, like, you know, I tell you, you know, me and the thing, how you go already, like, me and the guys will be like really cool and whatever. Not to say I never have good friends that are girls, of course I do. But you know, you have your guy friend them and you and them can roll and chat. And people also thought that me and that particular guy friend would have made a good couple, and you know, oh my god, you know, and I was just like, no sir, no sir. You know me picky already, you know, say me have certain standards already. So I was just like, no. And we used to run into each other because, you know, he used to park, we did my friend, and whatever, we'd kind of be in the mutual circles. And you know, after we met, we actually realized that a lot of the places that he was also, but we just never met. After we met, you know, we're just acquaintances, like we never have each other number. First of all, we take very long for have like WhatsApp and them something. Them time there, MSN Messenger around the place, and them something there. If you don't know about MSN Messenger, comment down below. And that is where we used to talk to people now, MSN Messenger. But them time the BlackBerry they have come out, but we never yet have a BlackBerry people. Yeah, that just was not me. So you know, we're just acquaintances. As I said, we never have each other number. But that was in the era when Facebook was popping. Everybody was on Facebook, you know. MySpace did start for drop out, High Five did start for drop out, and Facebook they are around the place. So I remember we added each other on Facebook. Just because you know, you try to build up your little friends them on Facebook and so on and so on. So we added each other on Facebook, and when I remember we started the conversation with people, I don't remember. But you know, we start messaging at the Facebook Messenger and whatever not. And at first I was like, alright, this guy is not the typical like guy friend I have, because most of the guy friends I have like will when me tell you say will always run joke, like you know, they're very much conversationalist and stuff like that. People who talk a lot, and you know, the conversation just popping and vibing. As we did tell you know, when we did meet him before, I was just like, okay, then this is it when I go on so over. I never think say, oh, the boy is so cute, so handsome. No, never thought that, you know. There was no like instant connection or love at first sight or like at first sight. There was nothing like that. So I mean, we used to talk here and there, you know what I mean. He was kind of like, he loved photography from a long time, and he used to take like pictures for different events and church stuff and blah blah. He used to take a lot of pictures and stuff. And I remember right as I graduated from high school, from 6th form, I thought to myself, you know, I want to do a photo shoot for my birthday. That was the same year that I got my ears pierced. I think I was 19. So we went to Oak Gardens and he took some pictures for me. Them time that we were talking, the conversation I get more whatever, but he's a man of very few words, especially if you don't really know you like that. He's not going to be all talky. But once you get to know him, trust me, he's a big goofball, right? So you know, we're eventually getting to that level and whatever, and blah. But you know, me still never like him. Sometimes when they feel like, wonder if the guy here like me, cause why am I spend so much time at talk to me? Cause we used to come home every day from school or whatever, work, whatever, and we used to talk to each other on Facebook chat, Facebook Messenger, you know what I mean? But at first I was like, I mean, cause you know, I usually have guy friends, and when I have guy friends, you know, we talk and we laugh and we chat, so I never really think nothing of it. Never know say me and me are the idiot who never realized that, you know, he was actually like interested. Never realized that. I just thought, you know, we're cool, we're friends. But I definitely feel like he was liking me before I liked him. Anyway, long story short, people, it's been 8 years of us being together. We've been together for 8 years this year. This year we make 8 years, and we've been married for 3. This year we make 3 years since we were married out of the 8 years. And I mean, during those times, him always used to tell me, say, you know, I have up so many walls, like, you know, because I know my stay, I'm telling you how I stay already, like, it took me a while to really get used to you and, you know, feel comfortable to just laugh and let down my guard and just kind of just be me and chill and whatever, just because, you know, I just don't know if you ever really like me for me, you know, I don't know if you ever like me for, you know, with my flaws and all, and I never want to risk just opening up to people just like that, you know, just to be hurt and whatever. And I know that's something very cliche, but now that I'm older and I think about it, that's the reason why I feel like I was very closed. As much time I could have laughed up with people and we could have chatted and whatever, but in terms of that vulnerable side, like, that was just not me. That was just not me at all, you know. But eventually we became very good friends, and I mean, we never have to tell each other, say, yo, you know, I like you. We didn't, you know, it just kind of happened, and it happened with a lot of like growth. It happened with a lot of like talking and doing things that were not like romantic and them someday, you know what I mean? Like, we legit started from like no vibe, no connection, no really good conversation, you know, to being very good with each other. He too, as I said, he's a very quiet kind of person too. He have to observe you first before, you know, he really let you in, and you know, see things really goofy and in nonsense. Which I can be like that too, but like you have to get to know me like really well. I have to be very comfortable with you. He used to do some things sometimes, and me I say, but really I wonder if that guy here like me, you know. Like one time he wrote me one poem and I talk about him, love my eyes them, and me I say, then this weird, but this normal. But I don't know, so I never really deal with nobody. If I say, well, these are the things that people who like you do, not people who are just friends do. You know, I just never have a clue people, but just never experience in that way. They can just be like any guy friend. They're just my friend. Like we're just cool. You know what I mean? But he did ask me to be his girlfriend and whatever. And we've been together from then since now. Yes, we've had our challenges and our difficulties because, you know, we were still. I mean, I met him when I was in high school. So I was in upper school, in high school, and when I did meet him. And you know, we were becoming friends, started to become closer like when I started university and stuff like that. So I mean, we started knowing each other from I was a teenager, because I didn't know him when he was a teenager, right? Because he's older than me. Anyway, but yeah, we started knowing each other from then. We developed a very good friendship and stuff like that. And it wasn't just based on, oh, you see somebody and say, oh, she look good, me like her, and you know, you just kind of run with it and start all kind of things. No. For one, I never believe in that. Like, me believe, say, oh, if you wait till you're married, certain things if you only do when you're married. Maybe one day I'll share that story with you guys also. And I was just like, you know, getting to know. At first I didn't, as I say, I just thought we were just doing the whole friend thing, like we're just gonna be friends. But, you know, it grew into more than that. And as I said, yes, you know, there were challenges because we met each other young. You know, we're still learning about ourselves, what our likes were, dislikes were. Me never have really much experience, if any at all, in the whole relationship thing, more than what my friends them would have tell me. I don't know my friends them already. Them talk to me about anything. Them know some in a certain things, but one thing with them, them are gonna tell me about certain things and teach me about certain things. You understand? So we're still learning about each other. So of course, you know, we had some times when we weren't sure like if this was what we were supposed to do, and you know, we have to take some little breaks to kind of figure out, you know, God, is this what you really want us to do? And that's so important too in a relationship as a Christian, to ensure that you and God are on the same page. You know, you're not just doing what you want to do just because it feels good or whatever, you know what I mean? But you're ensuring that God is at the center of your life. You have to spend a lot of time in prayer together. You know, if it's marriage that you want to pursue, you know, spend a lot of time together, but also spend a lot of time in prayer apart, you know, developing your relationship with God so that you can make your own decision too. You're not just saying, oh, you know, him seem to like me or him want to get married, so maybe just get married too. You know, you can't do it on that kind of basis. You have to be secure in yourself. And if you're single too, try to prepare yourself. You know, prepare yourself, get to know who you are, get to know what you like, you don't like, things that you can put up with, and things that are just like complete deal breakers for you. You know about those things. Get to know yourself for real. Get to know yourself as a Christian, as a young lady. You know, learn how to do different things, learn how to manage your money by yourself, because I didn't feel like I was incomplete. Like, I never felt like I'm incomplete, that I needed a man to be my complete self. You know, I was already complete, you know, by myself and how I was happy, you know what I mean? But being with him and, you know, seeing our relationship thrive and stuff like that, it definitely added a new dimension to me. Definitely added a new dimension to me, and just added to the wholeness of who I was, you know what I mean? So if you're single, don't be saying that, you know, the only way you can be happy now is if you have a man. I know sometimes that's easier said than done, but you know, it's true. You are whole by yourself. You know, you don't need a man. It's nice to have a man, yes, for sure, for real. But you are whole by yourself. Get to know yourself. Get to know yourself in Christ, who you are in God. And continue working on your relationship with him. Continue working on your education goals. Continue working on your career goals. you know, because I know a lot of people sometimes will say, you know, I have to get my career first. I don't necessarily think so. I mean, as I said, you know, when me and my husband started dating, you know, I was in high school. Well, I wasn't in high school, I was in university. But when we started knowing each other, I would have been at the end of my high school journey. And I don't think being with him deterred me from getting my university degree. I don't think it deterred me from getting jobs and still being focused and still being active in church. Like, it didn't deter me because, as I said, I was a whole person. I was still getting to know myself, yes, but he was also there. But it was still important for me to get to know me, for me, without him, you know what I mean? While we're also, you know, dating and them something there, I made sure that, you know, my family knew who he was, especially my immediate family. You know, so he used to come around, them know who he is if I'm going anywhere, you know, them know and them feel comfortable that I'm going with him, you know, because they got to know him and, you know, I brought him around. I wasn't hiding him, you know what I mean? And that's when I felt comfortable too. I personally don't believe that every single body that maybe I talk to you just run up in your family and whatever. Like, I feel like you have to reach a point where you're like, yeah man, this is definitely going in the direction that I want it to go in. This is the direction that God is guiding me in, and so therefore this is somebody that I want to introduce to my family so that they can get to know the person, you know what I mean? Because to me, my family is very important to me. Not to say that, okay, if them never agree, would I just whatever, you know what I mean? But it still was important. Their opinion was still important for them to be comfortable with him, for them to be comfortable with me, with him, like going to different places or whatever, like that was important to me. So of course I did bring him around and make them see, and you know, after a while they were like, yeah man, you know, you make a good choice, and you know, they were really feeling him, and you know, they really started to form a relationship with him. I'll never forget how my father used to always say, this is before we engaged, before we married, not like that. He used to always say, like, you know, yeah man, this is my son, you know, my other son and whatever. And you know, my father was just like very welcoming. I remember, you know, growing up too, I was always nervous. I'm like, suppose we get a boyfriend, like, oh, them are gonna manage, because you know, certain things are instilled in you from you're young, you know, growing up in a Christian home and stuff like that. So I was always very nervous. I'm like, are my parents gonna like this guy? Is it gonna be like this big contention? Sometimes you watch TV and you see how people, in-laws don't get along with this one, and this big argument and who don't like who, and you know, it seems like a very stressful kind of situation, you know what I mean? But everything, I can't say this, everything that has happened like with us has been so natural, and that has been something else that has been like a very good indicator to us of, you know, moving to the next level, you know, dating and courting and then getting engaged, getting married and stuff like that. Like, it has always been, not that it has been easy, but it has been natural. Like, the progression through the different steps of our relationship have always been very natural. Never forced ever, you know. I never had to be like, oh, you know, I'm just doing this because, you know, I'm kind of feeling like I want to work, or I'm just do it because he seemed like a nice guy, you know, my parents said I must marry a nice guy. No, it was always very natural, like, you know, it was almost like it was supposed to happen, you know. And as I said, we're good friends, so I mean, that made it a whole lot easier, because to me, when you're friends, and this is why sometimes too, a lot of people who are friends at first, you know, who maybe not very interested in each other like romantically, a lot of time it ends up working out with them, just because you build that kind of foundation, and so therefore you know each other probably at your best and your worst. You know, this is somebody that you really confide in, and your real self really is not like you say you have to be putting on any kind of stuff because you want to get this guy or you want to get this girl. You know, they know you with your bonnet. You know, they know you when your breath stink or your arm green or whatever the case may be, because when you start out the foundation as just friends, like nobody's trying to put on anything, like we're just friends, you know what I mean? And so I think that's why our relationship was just so natural. Alright guys, so I realized that I was not doing my hair while talking, or I was doing my hair and not talking. One out of the two things maybe I do. So I decided to just finish off my hair, blow dry it and stretch it. So this is what it looks like. I just also wanted to just wrap up the video. I want to tell you guys that it is fun. Like, marriage is fun. You know, it's not something that you should be afraid of. I mean, I got married not being afraid, understanding, yes, the seriousness and the commitment that would come with it, but it's fun. It's fun, and you you in your marriage should have fun. It should be an enjoyable experience for you. Marriage is even more beautiful when both of you are on the same page. You guys have mutual values, you guys agree on some fundamental issues, because when you disagree on the most fundamental of issues, that's where you butt heads a lot. That's where, you know, you become unhappy, maybe you become miserable. Another thing too is that marriage is definitely work. Like, it takes a lot of work, and I would suggest that before you get married, you discuss the red flags, things that you see that you don't necessarily like in the other person. You know, talk about baggage, you know, talk about your fears, your insecurity. Really be open and vulnerable about those things before you do take the leap of marriage, because it makes it so much more difficult to work through when you have already made that commitment, when you've already signed that legally binding document. So work on those things, work on your baggage. If there are things that you realize about the person that you don't like, talk about it. Maybe after having a discussion about it, or after sharing your opinion and then them sharing their opinion, and you realize, well, this not going to work out, you know what I mean? So definitely make sure you have those hard discussions before you get married. Not to say that when you get married things can't happen that, you know, will kind of throw you for a loop, but I mean, it's best to get as much out of the way in terms of having a discussion, just to ensure that you guys are on the same page, just to ensure that you as well know that, well, this is this person's opinion on a particular thing. Can I live with it? Can I not? And that will determine whether, or that will be one of the things that determine whether you continue to marriage or not. So make sure you get all of that out of the way. Another thing that I would suggest is building your marriage on friendship. I did touch on that when I was sharing with you guys about how we were friends. It wasn't an instant, oh, love at first sight. It wasn't an instant, oh, let's sex, oh, let's make out. Oh, it wasn't that. We really built our relationship on friendship and becoming very good friends, you know. And then, to me, honestly, after we became friends and after that romantic love started to grow, like the intimacy aspect of it when we did get married, it was so much more beautiful, just because we knew how deep we were, we knew what kind of foundation we had set for each other, so it was even more fun. Don't just get married just because you know the person have money, because when the money done, anything can happen. You know, your luck can change tomorrow. If the money done, then what would that marriage be based on? You know, what would that marriage be based on if you just get married for status? You know what I mean? That's not what a marriage is about, in my opinion. It's not just about money and status. You know, there's so many other things that go into marriage, and if you just base it on one thing, like for instance, if you just base getting married on having sex, when the sex done, because you're not gonna have sex every day as much as maybe people would like to sexualize everything, you don't have sex every day. That's facts of life. You have things to do. You come home, you're tired. You have children. If you don't have sex every day, people. So basing your marriage on one aspect, or, you know, two little aspects, in the long run, that's gonna end up making you miserable. It's gonna end up making you miserable, because there's so much more to marriage, you know, friendship, love, companionship, being able to accomplish things together, being able to get through struggles together, supporting each other. There's so much more than just money and just status, you know what I mean? And sometimes when you get married for just money and status, you end up having to do things that you don't want to do, you know what I mean? Just because, you know, people can text up with you, people can say to you, say, well, if you get married to me for the money, you know, you're gonna want an allowance for this and that. That means that I'm gonna be able to do whatever I want to do with other women, with other men, whatever. That means that you can't go out, I dictate everything that you do. You know, it's a dictatorship more than a relationship, more than two parties coming together, working together. So be very mindful of that. I mean, nothing is wrong with you marrying somebody who has money, but, or you as somebody with money marrying somebody who probably just doesn't have as much as you have. Nothing is wrong with that, but just understand that the basis of the marriage should not be on money and status and the things, the materialistic things that you can get. Another thing that I want to say is that your marriage is your marriage. You know, you can see people online and say, oh, marriage goals, or see people that you ascribe to be like, you know, in your relationship. Or even if you're not married, you know, you say, one day if I meet a woman or I meet a man, you know, this is what I want it to be like. But your marriage is yours. You know, there's no marriage that is the same. As much as I said that, you know, I believe that my parents being married for so long, and, you know, us being together as a family, growing up in that kind of nuclear family, you know, yes, it was a good example, but my marriage is different from my parents' marriage. And even though they would have set some good examples for me, my marriage is still mine, you know, it's still mine, you know, it's still what me and my husband want it to be. And so do what you want to do in your marriage, as long as you both are agreed, you know, you agree on certain things, and you just make your marriage what you want it to be. Allow God to lead your life, allow God to lead your marriage, never leave him out of anything, and trust me guys, you'll be alright. I know these days a lot of people are saying like, you know, don't get married, I never want to get married, and that seems to be the narrative, but I'm just here to tell you guys, I've been married for a couple years now. I've actually been with my spouse for a good while, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. Even in the challenging times, I've enjoyed it. Even when I get annoyed and stuff, my love for him does not waver. You know what I mean? So it's possible to get married and to have a great life, but you guys just have to focus on what you want your marriage to be. So I want to thank you guys for watching another episode of Just Debbie Marie. I want to remind you guys to subscribe. Also remember to like this video if you have enjoyed it. Remember to leave something wedding related so that I know that you guys were rocking with me for the entire video. I want to remind you to check out the previous videos on my channel and my channel playlist. And also check out my other channel with my husband. I spoke about him a lot in this video. You guys will get to know him more on that channel called Yardments. I'll leave the link in the description below. Thanks again so much for watching guys. If you guys want me to do some more of these style and chat kind of videos, you guys can leave some topics that you want me to discuss in the comments below, and we can have more videos like this. So thanks again guys for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.